So just over the halfway point, coming off an incredible week last week. Let's go ahead and jump on the scales and see how you guys did last week.
I don't know why.
In sixth place, down 4 pounds, 1.95%, Sam. Fifth place, down 8 pounds, 4.14%, Christina. Fourth place, down 9.2 pounds, 4.62%, Stephanie. And third place, down 8.2 pounds, 4.63%, Beth. So 0.01% separated Beth and Stephanie this week. 0.01. It's like a hair of your chinny chin chin. In second place, down 16.8 pounds, 5.66%, Karen. And in first place, down 22 pounds, 10.25%, Cliff. Awesome, awesome job. New decades this week, Karen is in the 270s. So awesome, awesome job. And so this week, as we continue on, and we come out of last week where we talked about other people's words, we talked about our own words. And when I say words, I also mean thoughts, because thoughts are just words that you don't say. You with me? And so we talk to ourselves all the time, whether we're talking to ourselves out loud, whether we talk to ourselves in our head. And a couple weeks back, season 9 talked to you about life and death being in the power of the tongue. And tonight is going to be part 2 of that. It's the only thing in the entire 12 weeks that we talk about twice. We have 2 calls dedicated to it. And that alone should tell you how important this is. Like this right here. And so tonight we're going to revisit, we're going to dive a little bit deeper. We're going to examine some things, and we're going to talk about some good practices, some things that you can do that are going to help you succeed, and some things that are going to make it extremely hard to succeed. And I will tell you, back in 2014, when I recommitted to weight loss, and I rededicated after being a weight loss failure forever. Like I had tried to lose weight, but I was a weight loss failure, which means everything I tried failed. I would lose some, and then I would gain it, and then I would lose some, then I would gain it, then I would lose some, then I would gain it. And it was just like, oh my gosh, like leading to all these different sizes in my closet, confidence in the gutter, because think about it. Where does crappy confidence come from?
Crappy confidence?
Yeah.
Ourselves.
Not staying true to yourself, I would say, and not like following through with what you want to do. Your goal, I guess.
Yeah. So the number one thing that kills your confidence, even bigger than other people's words, are when you commit to doing something and you don't do it. You don't follow through. You say you're going to do something and then you don't. It kills your confidence faster than anything. Also, so saying we're going to do something and not doing it causes our confidence to plummet. It causes our confidence to plummet. We beat ourselves up. We become our own biggest critic. We say really mean things to ourselves. We remind ourselves of all the times in the past we've said stuff and not stuck to it. And on the flip side of that, soaring confidence comes from the exact opposite. Soaring confidence that can move mountains comes from saying we're going to do something and then actually doing it. When we say we're going to do something and we do it, oh my gosh, it is like an endorphin rush. It is a confidence booster. It is a morale booster. It's a belief booster. And so the thing is, we are in charge again, of what we prioritize and what we don't. And this is why we have to be careful of what we commit to, because if we commit to all these things and we can't physically do them all, what happens to our confidence? It goes down. And then sometimes we commit to things like a program like this, and then other distractions come along that are funner. Some of us are chasing the fun. Some of us are chasing the shiny object. Oh, this looks good. Oh, that good. Oh, this came up, that come up. You know, there's always going to be a reason to not do the work. And 7 weeks ago, when you first started, think about it. When you first start a new program, isn't like we get excited about the work. And when we're excited about the work, it doesn't make the work seem like work because there's excitement mixed in with the work. And it's like rainbows and a unicorn popped out. And it's like, oh, I know this is work, but oh, I'm so excited. We're excited about the possibilities. And where excitement exists, the work never seems like work. But eventually what always ends up happening inside of everything, by the way, is the excitement leaves. We don't stay excited the whole time. And when the excitement leaves, that's when we're left with the work. And now it feels different. It feels harder. It feels heavier. It doesn't feel as fun. It doesn't feel as exciting. And so often, this is why people diet hop, is because they're constantly changing that endorphin rush of the new thing, the new exciting thing, the new exciting possibility. And it's one of the worst things people can do. And so we have got to be a man or a woman who, when we say we're going to do something, that we do it, 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 that we don't overcommit. We commit to what we know we can do, and then we do it. We don't let our excuses or our reasons get in the way. And so when we go back to life and death being in the power of the tongue, one of the reasons why this is so freaking important is because you cannot have a positive life with negative talk. It does not happen. It is, I'm going to say, impossible to have negative thinking in a positive life, to have negative self-talk in a positive life. A positive life is a result of positive speak. Most of the time. And we live in a world where this is not common. This is not what we're surrounded by. For most of us, this is not what we've been programmed to do. In fact, I love my parents, but if I look at my parents, they're not positive. They're not positive at all. My kid stands up on something, and the first thing my dad says is, "Get down, you're going to flip over and bust your head and die." Okay, Dad, do we have to go to the absolute worst case scenario? Carmen, they shouldn't hang upside down on that head monkey bars. They're going to fall down and butt their neck and be paralyzed. Awesome, Dad. Or, everything is negative, worst case, whatever. And so most of us have been trained and taught how to be negative from the time we were little. So most of us have some really bad programming that, listen, we've only been together for 7 weeks. Most of you have decades of negative programming that we're dealing with. And so, but the first most important thing to understand is that we're dealing with it. We can't change something that we don't know is there. We can't change something that we already think we're good at. If we already think we're good at something, or we've got something mastered, we'll never work on it from there. So it's recognizing, first off, that this is something we've got to work on. And this is something that I will tell you, if you want to be a positive person in a negative world, that we always have to be working on. We will never get to a point where we will be able to stop working on this. First and foremost, because environment is everything. And if we take a look at the people that we're surrounded by, think about those people that you work with. Are they mostly positive or mostly negative? For most of us, they are from the world. They're not going through anything like this, so they're mostly negative. Think about our families. You can love your family. Negative. What comes natural to humans is negativity. That's what comes natural. Oh my gosh, you watch the news? Every once in a while, they might have some feel-good PR story, but most of it is just like doomsday. We went on vacation a couple years ago, and my mom is super big into the news. Like, she gardens with her phone and the news on. I don't watch the news much. My husband tells me what I need to know, and I just don't fill my head with all that stuff. I'll go read if there's stuff going on, I'll go read a news site and see what I need to know, but I don't watch the news. And so my mom was staying in a condo with us, and every day in the living room, she'd have the news on. Like, every day. It was going all day long. And by the end, we came home and I told my husband, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel less stressed. Like, during this whole vacation, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just felt more stressed. And it wasn't until I got home and I removed watching the news, listening to the news all the time, that I was like, oh, that's what it was. And I told my mom, you can, like, last time she was on vacation with us, I love you and you can watch the news in your room, but it is not allowed on in the living room. And my kids don't need to hear that nonsense with all everybody's agendas and all the stuff. And so we are affected by other people. We just spent the entire last week getting over it. And so this is how much words matter. And so when I recommitted to my health back in 2014, there were 3 things that were non-negotiables for me. And one of them was that I was not allowed to complain about anything that I chose to do, because I made out my whole plan. Basically, the plan that you guys have was the plan I made for myself when I decided to lose weight. I was going to drink my water. I was going to eat this. I was going to move my body minimum 30 minutes a day, 6 days a week. I had an accountability partner that I was checking in with. I didn't have a coach like this. And this, I had nobody to hold me accountable. Thank God. I was in that season where I was able to hold myself accountable and do the things. But basically the plan you guys have is the things that I did. And so one of my non-negotiables was not checking off the boxes. Like, I had to check off the boxes every day. And I can remember it being 10, 11 o'clock at night, and I had procrastinated my workout because I had a toddler and a newborn, and most mornings I was able to get up and get it in. But, once in a while, there's a morning where I had such a bad attitude. I was like, oh, I hate leg day. I hate this. I hate yoga. I don't like this. I don't like that. No, I can't have pizza. Like, I was such a complainer. And I wondered why I hated working out. I wondered why I dreaded it. I wondered why I wasn't excited about my water. I wasn't excited about my broccoli without butter and cheese on it. Well, because I freaking talked so negative about it. I mean, I self-proclaimed did not like vegetables. And as long as me not liking vegetables without cheese and butter on them was my truth, as long as I spoke it, that's my truth. So no matter how many vegetables and here's the thing. So after a couple weeks, I was like, you know what? This is not serving me. And I had learned through business that life and death was really important, and how I spoke about my business, how I spoke about my future, how I spoke about where my business was going, what I was going to accomplish, what we were going to do as a team. Like, I had it down. I had it like nailed inside of my business. And all of a sudden I was like, wait a minute, Carmen, what if all the same principles that you use to build a $9 million business, you applied to your weight loss, which means you cannot complain. The only thing you can say has to line up with where you're going. The vision, who I wanted to become. And if it doesn't line up with it, you can't talk about it. You can't complain about it. You can only speak positive about it. And listen, I already knew that my brain does not know the difference between a truth and a lie. Just like your brain does not know the difference between a truth and a lie. It only knows what you tell it. It only knows what you tell it. And so if you tell your brain, I hate leg day, your brain's job is to keep you away from pain, away from things you don't like, and towards things you like. So if you're like, I wish I could just lay on the couch and not have to work out, well, your brain's going to try to find a reason for you not to work. Several different areas, right? The first area is, what do you say about yourself when it comes to your commitment to the program? What do you say about yourself when it comes to your commitment to the program? How do you talk about yourself when it comes to your commitment? Are you a man or woman of your word? Are you someone who makes a commitment and keeps it? Are you somebody who follows through? Are you somebody who is focused? Are you somebody who is disciplined? Are you somebody who is committed? how many of you want to be committed enough to succeed with this? How many of you don't want to be uncommitted? But how many of you have found areas, see, when we get inside of things like this, where we sign up to be committed, all of a sudden you start seeing the areas where you're not, right? It's like it starts showing you areas where, oh, I'm not committed. Listen to me. If you're not counterbalancing that with your words, and here's what I find, some people want to be committed, but they don't think they're committed. When people struggle with committed, most of the time, what do we think our truth is? I'm not committed. I struggle with commitment. Most people think they have to wait to say it until they are. That's broken thinking. It's broken thinking. No, you don't have to wait until you are committed to say you're committed. Again, your brain does not know the difference between a truth and a lie. It only knows what you tell it. So when I started working out, I believed at that time, coming into it, that I did not like working out. God made those workout people, and then he made me, and I did not like it. I didn't like to sweat. I didn't like my breastfeeding boobs, freaking ginormous, hurting. I have to wear 2 sports bras to hold them down. I didn't like, it made me feel super self-conscious because I couldn't do all the moves that the trainers did. And I just didn't want to do it. I didn't like it. I didn't enjoy it. I dreaded it. I counted down till I was going to be done with it. I cussed. And so when I said, no, I'm only allowed to say positive things about the workout. Oh, what would someone say that loved working out? And it was like, okay, I've got to trick my brain, because I know my brain doesn't know the difference between truth and a lie. I literally had this whole thought process. So, Carmen, what would somebody who loves working out, how would they start their morning? Would they start their morning with the snooze button, or would they leap out of bed excited? Would they say, oh, I can't wait to work out. Today is leg day. I love leg day. They might even sing. So I'm telling you, the day I made this decision, I already knew what my next morning was going to look like. I knew that I was going to get out of bed. I already had the song picked out that I was going to play. And it was Montel Jordan, This Is How We Do It. Okay? Tip up your cup and throw your hands up and let me hear the... okay? So again, my brain doesn't know if I'm excited. My brain only knows what I'm saying. So if I leap out of bed and I'm like, oh man, it's leg day. I love leg day. I can't wait for leg day. I can't wait for this workout. I got Montel Jordan. This is how we do it. Sha-la-la-la-la. I'm telling you, it was the best workout ever. And I was like, I knew I was lying to myself the whole time. I knew I didn't mean it, but I acted like I did. And it was the best workout ever. Do you want to know when I stopped hating working out? When I stopped saying that I hated it. I used to not be a morning person. I self-proclaimed, I owned it. I talked about it. I was a night owl. I could stay up till 1 or 2 in the morning and sleep till 10 or 11. And I always said, it doesn't matter. I still get the same amount of stuff done. I'm just not a morning person. And then it was like, wait, what if I just chose to become a morning person? And this for me changed when I had kids. Because I'm like, do I want my kids to not be a morning person? Or do I want my kids to wake up and be like, I saw all these other little kids being like, don't talk to me, it's early. I'm not a morning person. And I thought, where do they get that? They probably heard it from their parents, just like my kids are going to hear it from me. I thought, no, I want my kids, like I want, when I see them, hugs and kisses and good mornings. And so I thought, okay, if I want that, I have to do that. Okay, I'm a morning person. I love mornings. Oh, I woke up today. Mornings are amazing. I love them. I'm telling you, some of you guys think I'm crazy. I am telling you, this works. So what did I do? I literally, in a moment, went from proclaiming that said it from stage, said it in all kind. I don't even, probably said in front of hundreds or thousands of people that I am not a morning person. Owned it, talked about it. And then one day in one decision, I decided to become a morning person. Change the script, change what I was saying. Guess what? I am a morning person. I love mornings. I am so excited in the morning. I cannot wait to kiss my husband, hug my kids, do my workout. But that wasn't the case 10 years ago. But what if I would have been like, well, I'm really trying to love the mornings. I'm really trying to get a good attitude. I'm really trying to get up and be excited about my workouts. You can be trying for a decade, honey. It's not about trying. It's about making the decision and moving on with it. So life and death, it not only means something to those that you do life with, but it means something to you and where you're going. And you have got to learn to speak. You've got to make sure that the things you're speaking line up with where you want to go, friends. Not with who you've been, not with fear of failure. Most of the things we say are because we fear failure. They're from limiting beliefs. What if I say it and it doesn't happen? What if I believe it and what if I get excited and I fail? So being negative keeps you from being disappointed? No, we're still disappointed. That's just a lie we've told ourselves. And so we have got to make sure, and we have got to put so much focus on this, that our words, what we say, line up with the life we want 1 year from today.
So I haven't really been talking negative, but I have found myself becoming lazy in it, and not being intentional. Like, I need to check in. Oh, I need to hurry, go take a shower first. And then I get busy making my salad, making my stuff. And, and then same thing in the evening. So, my game plan is when I think about it, I'm going to do it. And so I have, the negative talk, I've been working on that for years and years. And, something we've taught our kids for years. I had my 17-year-old son wasn't in a very good place, and we did not know. This is the power of teaching your kids this stuff. We're going to go fishing. We're out around the boat, and I hear him, he was working on something. I hear him under his breath muttering, "You're going to work in the name of Jesus." And I'm like, holy cow, he did listen. And so now he's 23, and now I find myself getting away from being intentional in teaching that. And I found myself started slacking in some of that and start talking negative about myself again. So the game plan is just to be intentional. When I think of doing something, I'm gonna go do it immediately. Like take my pictures in the morning. So yeah.
All right, this is a great lesson for this week because I have been so keyed in on negative self-speak, being aware of it, and trying very hard to move past it, and finding it difficult this weekend, more than it has been. And I realized that what I'm not doing is speaking the positive. I'm so focused on the negative, but I'm not replacing that with anything, much less the positive. So that is what I'm going to do. I wrote out affirmations that need to be front and center every day, and that will be my focus. I am also going to listen to my why video again because I found that to be so powerful in helping me stay focused. And I'm also going to review the commitments that I made when I started this program and recommit. And I think those will be powerful for me.
Okay. One thing I would say is, my negative self-talk is a lot of times I replace it with like self-sabotaging humor. Like I'll make fun of myself for a flaw that I see. And I think replacing those words would be better, or just not saying them at all. Maybe in my head, just like say, like, I don't know. I can't give an example right now. I'm nervous, but yeah, just replace, instead of using humor, just like replace those words. I really like Beth's idea of the positive aspiration, I can't even say it, affirmations. Actually have my daughter do that every day in the morning and in the afternoon, and I think I should do that myself. And then what else? I think saying out loud, not just thinking replacing the negative thoughts with the positive thoughts, but saying it out loud to myself will really help. So that's what I plan to do.
I definitely can see how it's really hard for me to want to check in when I don't feel like I have anything good to check in about. So just lots of negative self-talk, and I feel like I'm failing all over again, just because I feel like I can't really keep up and I can't do what I need to do or what I wanted to do. But I like Beth's idea of affirmation. So I think I'm going to start telling myself that I am good enough, and I'll just do my best every day, whatever that is, and that my best is good enough.
So when you were talking about how does someone that loves to work out act, I wrote down for myself, like, I noticed this last 2 weeks, maybe this last couple days more so, that I was walking through this program. I wrote down that I was walking through the program cautiously, like I'm afraid of myself. So now I started pulling back, or like not going all in. And then like what happened last night to this morning, it was, and it goes to like what we're telling our brain, because you see, you're going to mess up. So I'm like walking cautiously because I know I'm going to mess up, and then I know I'm going to fail and I'm going to go back to the old weight, or, and all of that was like, as you were talking through this lesson today, was like what I dealt with this morning. I went to sleep thinking, oh my gosh, I weighed this much more and I'm heavy and la, la, la. And the scale really did show it, right? And then when I calmed down and I relaxed, and I don't know, it was like I was saying earlier that it was like, what's wrong with the scale? But it goes back to like, your brain doesn't know from a truth or a lie. And I went to sleep with these negative thoughts about myself, about the scale, the anxiety towards it. And like I manifested, not good results from that. And so I noticed that as I'm going through that and I start to develop this bad pattern, that I think the last time when we talked about this, I had mentioned that I was going to be intentional, be focused, but I noticed that I got too relaxed and I got into like an autopilot mode. And when that happens, I lost the focus. But those are the things that I wrote down. Like you get too relaxed. And so to overcome all of this, in addition to what we're doing, I want to go back to what I feel has worked for me in the past, which is, putting on at least, I work from home, and I'm, whether if I'm on the phone or I'm doing emails, I have a lot of time to listen to personal development and to feed my brain the right things. And so instead of watching like my Netflix or my Prime Video movies and binge watching that, just be more recommitted to something more positive that's going to feed me, and instead of trash that has no significance, in the long run.
100%, 100%. And, it's, I love that you said that. It's being very intentional about what we choose to feed this, and understanding that everything feeds it. And so it was years ago when I realized the power of this, like for me in that moment, because I almost had this spirit of fear, I could feel it. And so I was like, where are places in my life that are planting this? Like, where am I getting this? And so knowing how real life and death and power of the tongue is, I'm like, for me in that moment, like I cut out scary movies. I go to bed, I'm scared. I'm like scared of the dark. I have these things. I'm like, why am I watching these things? Like, why am I doing this? And so like, I haven't watched a scary movie in decades. Like the last one I watched was one of the Saw movies way back when. And I was just like, no, like for me, I'm done. Like used to go to haunted houses. And so it was being very intentional about my words and what I was allowing in here, because it really does make a difference. And so as we come into this next week, it's making sure that anything that we're allowing to be planted in our garden, whether it's other people's words or our words, it's asking ourselves, does this line up with where I'm going? Does this serve me? Does this need to be watered? Because if we water it, it grows into a big giant tree over time. Or we round up it, which means we don't want it to grow, because if we water the weeds grow. And then they choke out all the good stuff. And so if we have too many weeds, nothing good can grow, because the weeds are taking all the nutrients. So when we get weeds, it's pulling them up, round upping, not even giving them a chance to grow, and making sure we water the right things. And so reminding you that I believe with everything in me that none of you are here on accident, that you are handpicked, you are personally chosen for this time, for this moment, for this season, for this year, that this is your year, this is your time, and this is the time that it works. This is the last first time, the last program, the last first day, the last time you're ever going to be in the position that you started in. The last time.